bit of bling, haven't you? Cool out. Out is a different man. Going to see ours. Right then, guys. 1975 MG Midget. My project, if you like. I bought it 2 years now, just coming on to 2 years, and it was not in this condition. It was very, very poor. Mechanically it was alright. I paid very, very little money for it, and it was almost a bit of a steal, to be honest. Didn't seem right, but it was mechanically quite sound, but bodywork was pretty poor. This wing here was non-existent. Down at the bottom it was just filler and carpet tiles. Yes, carpet tiles. This wing here was completely rotted out. There was a big hole in the bodywork just here. It had got holes in the top of the boot here where it had got a rack on it, but the rack unfortunately had disintegrated, so it was time to get rid of it, and I patched the holes. So I rebuilt this with new metal, so that's all new metal. I did a repair patch on the wing, so down here there's still a bit of polish on it. Down here there is a brand new panel, so I welded that in, rebuilt the sills, rebuilt the front end because that was all fiberglass and filler basically. And it's now all painted in its original colour. So the car, when I got it, every panel was a different colour, every single one, and it was more of an orange than it was a red. But I actually applied for a British Heritage Certificate to get a bit of history about the car, and the history came back showing that it actually was in flamenco red when it left the factory. Flamenco red, so that's what we painted it in. So it's now back to its original colour. It's pretty much standard, apart from a couple of engine bits to make it look pretty, and the seat covers, because the seats were ripped unfortunately. They're not original seat covers, they're our friends in Asia that made those, but they're okay. They're alright, they're well built and they're built up to standard and they look alright. But in the future I might get them retrimmed properly, but not yet. The refurbed Roadster wheels. If you look on the channel in an earlier video, you'll see that we refurbed these. So now you can see them on the car. It really looks right. You know, originally it had these really terrible mini light replicas, and they were shite. There's no better way to put it. They were just terrible. So got those off and got myself some original Roadsters, refurbed them, as you see in a video. Link is there somewhere. Yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. It's been about 6 months of work. I painted it in a tent on the drive, so it wasn't really ideal conditions, but it's all the same colour now. It's polished up really well. I'm quite pleased with it. There's a couple of bits that need to be addressed, but all in good time. It's time to enjoy it in the summer now. So, engine bay. Apart from the obvious bling, because you just got to have a bit of bling, haven't you? Which is a guy on eBay actually. I'll get you the link, put it in the description, because the guy's a genius with things like this. Apart from that, the engine standard, you'll have probably seen, we'll insert a clip somewhere up here of the engine itself coming out of the car and being rebuilt. I did a top end rebuild on this. It's not had a bottom end rebuild because the bearings were all with tolerance, so I've left them. Gearboxes just started giving me trouble, so that's probably going to be a project for the future, but I did rebuild that, but unfortunately it seems like it's got a troublesome synchromesh in third. But new cover, the carburetors were completely refurbished and rebuilt, because when I got them it had been in storage. It would have been in storage for around 16 years, so the carburettors were gummed up pretty bad. So we had those rebuilt by Birmingham Carburettors. Again, not affiliated. I had to pay for it, unfortunately. It was painful, but it's had new carbs. I've put a fuel filter on it because it looks cool. It's mainly it. And a new fuel pump, because the old fuel pump, the mechanical fuel pump, was well, it was rubbish. And it kept skipping off the cam because unfortunately the original one had failed, so it was replaced by a repurposed one, and it just wouldn't stay on the cam follower, so it kept skipping off the cam follower and stopping pumping. So replaced that, blanked it off, and put an electronic fuel pump in it. It makes the world of difference. So yeah, under the engine bay there's not really anything to do apart from have a look at that gearbox, maybe put a bit of a sporty exhaust on it to make it sound cool, and then just tidy up a bit of the electrics when I can, but it's working, so you know, we'll use it. So just a quick one with the roof up. It's not the most pleasant thing to be in when the roof's up. It's quite noisy, but there's worse cars on the road, and it does actually keep you dry, which is unusual for a BMC car. But this is a new roof. The old one had got a hole in the window here, it was ripped at the top here, so we put a new roof on it and fitted it ourselves. It was a bastard of a job. Don't let anybody tell you it was easy, because it isn't. But once it's on, they look really good. And I've done the modification on the front, which a lot of midget owners do, which is to put a little tag here, because they're actually held on with Velcro, this bit, and it never ever stays. So just use one of these buttons. I forget the name, what they're actually called, but I have a collection of them now. So there you go, one roof.
Right, we've got Dave with us, and we're going to do a little bit of what's it like for a noob getting into an MG Midget, because I got in it earlier for the first time. It was an absolute struggle, but I've had recent experience, so Dave is going to be our noob, the guinea pig. Let's do it.
I don't know. No. I don't want to break the roof.
Yes, Dave.
No.
Almost. Yes.
Way!
Toot toot.
He's in.
Now it's a bit tight. Not made for people who are fat. Right.
That is true. Now all you got to do is get out.
Do I try the same way I got in?
Just roll out, Dave.
Well, they won't work. Yeah, that's a good idea. No, it ain't gonna work. All right. Sorry if I scratch everything in here.
Don't scratch the paint.
No. I'm just gonna crawl out. You can tell I'm on fit. I've got my breath trying to get out of the car. Right. This leg's got to come.
Okay. That's it. This will take one leg. That's it.
What the hell?
Yay!
Yeah, that's too low for me.
Right, so that was Dave's shambolic attempt. We've now got Liam as the owner, the professional. Let's see how it's done.
Right, prepare yourself for a non-dignified entrance. Leg in. Leg in. Then getting out is a different man compared to CRs. told you.
I've got a few inches on it.